This week we're looking at mental illness as part of BBC One's In the Mind season.
Now, it's a condition often associated with adults, but according to mental health charities, it also affects 1 in 10 young people.
A new CBBC documentary follows 3 children managing their illness. One of them is 15-year-old Libby. We'll talk to her in a moment. Let's take a look at how it affects her life.
I have suffered with anxiety for a year now, possibly longer than that, like a year and 6 months. Things that make me quite anxious are things that most people will probably find really easy to do. So walking to school by myself, I feel really uncomfortable when I have to cross a road, and I avoid doing them because they make me anxious, which, you know, isn't really going to help at the end of the day, is it? No.
So Louise here with her mum, Claire. So you're one of many young people who have had to deal with mental health issues. Yours involved anxiety and going to school. How difficult was it to open up about that in a television programme?
Well, I think a lot of people would probably think, oh, you've got anxiety, why would you do a documentary if it's really that bad? But I found it to be a very important issue, and it was the importance of the issue and the desire to talk about it that made it much easier for me to actually open up and talk about it generally.
And when did you first talk about it as a family? When was it obviously a long time ago, or how did it work?
It was around 3 years ago, yeah,
Right.
3 or 4 years ago is when it first started. I came into the living room and just said to Mum, I think I need to go to the doctors. I'm a bit worried because I've been Googling things beforehand and I was really panicky about it.
Googling not always necessarily the best first health resource to go to, really, is it? And how did you, what was your reaction when you first knew that there was an issue?
I realised there was an issue before Libby came to us. But with Libby, you can't tell Libby how she's feeling. It's like gently poking a bear. So you make suggestions, and once Libby makes up her mind, we then went to the doctors, spoke to the doctor, and moved forward from there.
It's very interesting, the documentary, because it's really informative about how anxiety affects you and kind of the effects on your body. How helpful was it to you? You probably knew that already, but how helpful is that, do you think, for people?
Yeah, I think it's extremely helpful actually, and one of the main things we really wanted to get through with the documentary is that there are multiple ways that you can get help, because I personally found it quite difficult. It took me a long time, so I had to come up with ways myself, whether that be apps, etc., to actually help myself. So yeah, I think it's very important.
Well, that's interesting. And you used an app.
Yeah.
To help yourself in a sense. Was that because you had to wait to get official help, if you like, or what was the reason for that?
Well, in our personal experience, we went to the doctors a few times, and there's quite a long waiting list. So we did find it quite difficult. But I think sometimes people can't get that support, but that doesn't mean that there's no support at all out there, because there is always something that can help you. Yeah.
So the way it manifests itself for you is a sort of difficulty, first of all, with trying to get to school and being on your own and crossing roads. What were the main difficulties?
The main difficulties are, like you said, crossing roads. I find it difficult to be in big public situations. Anything, paying for something at a shop by myself I find really difficult. So it's something that people would think would be quite trivial and quite, stupid, but I genuinely do find it really difficult to cope with.
She had major separation anxiety to start off with. Right. So I was getting regular phone calls at home at lunchtimes and break times just so that she could talk to me.
Right.
There are a couple of other young people in the programme, one who has sort of anger issues from being having attention deficit disorder, and another one who has what's called OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. So he was fixated on washing his hands and cleanliness and that sort of thing. But we're hearing this morning, Claire, that young people can wait up to 10 years before they get properly treated.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a problem with resources? And how long was some time before you could get?
Yeah, it took 9 months for a referral to actually speak to someone, and that's literally all we've had. Conversations on the phone. We've never had one-to-one, never met anybody. So we just had conversations over the phone. But there are so many resources out there, and Libby found so many ways to help herself it's
But
unbelievable.
that was the main thing. She had to help herself.
Yeah, but I made it clear that the anxiety wasn't allowed to control her. I said to Libby that she needed to take control of her mental health issues rather than let them control her.
What's your message to other people who are like you, suffering?
I think the most important thing is to talk about it, because it's a very isolating thing to go through. It's not like a broken knee. You don't have anybody to sign your cast. In fact, it's the other way around. Nobody really knows what to do. But there is always at least one person, whether that be a friend, a doctor, or a family member whom you can talk to, and there's always someone that can relate.
Well, well done for coming here to talk about it.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Clara. Thanks to you as well.
It's
Thanks.
a great documentary. It's called The Marvellous Messy Minds. It's on CBBC this afternoon at 5:15.
And for more information about BBC One's season on mental health, please visit our special website, bbc.co.uk/inthemind.
Lots more information there. The British textile industry has been